we have prepared a Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill whose main objective is to give the people the right through the referendum to recall the president and his deputy and replace them with a transitional president and a transitional deputy through that referendum. And how shall we do this? By establishing a sovereign people's convention, which is provided for under the Constitution. It is important that this proposal be exercised now because we are becoming a failed state.
You have something you want us to talk about exercising our power through the Constitution, either directly or through our democratically elected representatives. And for that, you wanted us to give you the mic.
Thank you so much for giving me the mic. We have a very clear proposal. In the proposal is that Article 1, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution of Kenya be activated so that the people of Kenya remove President William Ruto and his deputy Kindiki from office through a referendum this July.
This guy's name is Cyprian Nyamwamu and is the spokesperson of the Kenya Border to Itakayo Citizens Union, which is a movement petitioning to remove Ruto's government from office via referendum for 36 plus constitutional violations. Now, the key points this union is looking at: number one, is the constitution powerless against leaders violating it while capturing government? And remember, article number 3 of the constitution empowers citizens to defend it even by passing a captured parliament. Key point number 2, if found in violation, the citizens can directly remove them via referendum. In other words, if the people hire you, they can fire you. Watch what Nyamwamu had to say about this proposal and how it works. And as you watch, hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Let's go.
It is important that this proposal be exercised now because we are becoming a failed state. And the continued stay in power of both the president and his deputy is now an existential threat to the republic. And it is clear to us that the way to solve this existential threat to the good and the safety of the republic is that this referendum is conducted. There are many pain points and threats that have made this necessary. And if we look at the 5 main ones, is that the Constitution of Kenya is basically suspended. We have a court case. There's a petition in court which shows that President William Ruto has actually violated the Constitution more than 36 times over the last 2.5 years that he has been in power. And these violations include the gross human rights violations, including what is happening to Butere girls right now, which is against the oath of office that he swore to uphold. We've seen the abductions, we've seen the extrajudicial killings. Recently, the former deputy president and the former attorney general have been giving serious evidence, including on this show, in terms of what has been going on in government. But the second reason is that services have collapsed completely, and many Kenyans are dying because of this. The third reason is that the economy is on its knees because of the high taxes and the terrible policies. The corruption is the fourth reason, and massive wastage, living large in a country where people can hardly access basic needs of life. And we are seeing the situation around the East African and African continent, where our country's stature and respect has completely been violated because of how the president has mismanaged state security and diplomacy. So for the survival of the country, it is now important that the people of Kenya exercise the power directly, their sovereign power directly. And how do we do that? We have prepared a Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill whose main objective is to give the people the right through the referendum to recall the president and his deputy and replace them with a transitional president and a transitional deputy through that referendum. And how shall we do this? By establishing a sovereign people's convention, which is provided for under the Constitution, for the people to convene the convention after the referendum and constitute a transitional government. And so this is actually the realization that our Constitution provides for us a constitutional route for peaceful change of power and exercise of power within the Constitution. And as you know, this has happened in other countries where they have what we call parliamentary systems of government, but ours is a presidential system of government. In parliamentary systems of government, like in South Africa, you know that they have replaced two presidents using their constitutional formula. In our case, and you know that I was at the core of the making of the Constitution, we anticipated that there are times when the people will not wait until the next election to recall their president. And that is where we provided for the exercise of the direct sovereign of power, not looking at parliament to do the impeachment, but recalling the president through a referendum, which is Kenyans going to the ballot and recalling their president and deputy because they have become an existential threat to the very, very constitution and the state. So this is the proposal that we are making. And this morning, even as we are speaking about the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, we remember Feroz Noroji, who was actually the chair of the Democracy and Human Rights Veterans Council, which drafted the bill, and the bill is available. We will be going out, that's the formula. Immediately IBC is in place. We will do the collection of signatures, and then we will go to the county assemblies, and we will come to the National Assembly by June, and the referendum by July 2025 for the people of Kenya to recall the president and establish a transitional government for the next 2 years until the election of 2027. I yield the mic back to you, Eric. Thank you so much.
Mariam, you are quick to do this.
Immediate reaction.
Janet is not very sure.
No. I am processing.
Yeah, you're processing.
I'm a slow burn person. It just marinates.
See if I get it right. You're saying that a referendum be held to remove the sitting president and the deputy president, that ticket that was elected, that was sworn in as a pair to become the executive and deputy chief executive of the country, to remove them and to replace them. I'll talk about the replacement. But also you're using this as constitution as the basis for this. Cyprian, does the constitution allow us to do this?
Now, that is why we are establishing the referendum. At the referendum, we have taken a constitutional amendment bill, and in the constitutional amendment bill, there are 4 important things that everybody needs to know. The first part is to give the people the vote to recall. And we have established the Sovereign People's Convention within it in the 7th schedule to be the one which elects the president and the deputy. So the mandate is coming from the people directly to establish the Sovereign People's Convention, because previously it was not clear how you establish the Sovereign People's Convention to elect a transitional government. So we are saying you don't go back to conduct a fresh election. You put in place a transitional president and a transitional deputy who constitute cabinet for the next 2 years. So that's the second thing that the referendum provides. So you will be voting to replace, and you will be voting to remove and then to replace. The third thing is that we have outlined the mandate of the transitional government, that anybody who will be the transitional president and transitional deputy shall not be eligible to vote, to be eligible to vie for elections in 2027, so that we remove the conflict of interest that comes with a president who is mismanaging the country to get money and everything to get advantage to win another election. The fourth thing is that we have 5 important amendments that are coming with these amendments. Which are the 5 important amendments? Number 1 is to increase the money that is going to the county governments from 15% minimum to minimum 30%. The second thing that is the replacement is to deal with the gender not more than 2/3 issue that has been on the cards for too long. The third thing that is part of the referendum is that we are stopping double taxation. So that in your payee, you pay your 35%, and then the government comes and taxes you for housing tax, and then taxes you for another thing. So this is what we call tax injustice, double, triple taxation, which is unconstitutional. We fixed that by amending Article 209. So that the people of Kenya, if you are working and you have a pay slip, you pay payee once and for all.